On phone this morning. Morning, Meg.
Good morning.
Good morning. And broccoli. Don't ever even say the word broccoli. And I'm like, Eric, it's the number one, health food on the planet. But, this is just so surreal. You come to work every day and you write stories, you go report, you tell stories. And earlier last week when we knew this was coming, our news director, Nicole Wavers, said, Meg, I want you to start writing Eric stories. And I'm sitting at my desk, and I'm crying as I'm writing, but then I'm laughing hysterically as I'm writing because I'm going through all this old footage. And please don't ever tell Eric this because he'll get a bigger head than he already has. But Eric really did some really, really great things. And I could, everybody always joked about, Eric knew that he had done good things and don't tell him, but he really did. The music industry, the culture of our food industry. And what's so cool is Eric went and did a story on someone and became best friends with him. His address book in his phone was a who's who of, everyone who ever was, famous or did big things or well-known names in New Orleans, but not because they were well-known, but because Eric, he really got to be friends with the people he interviewed, and he nurtured their careers, and I don't know, I've known him for 43 and a half years, but I really felt like I got to know him even more.
Rob, that actually was very good.
We thank you for spending the time, Meg, to go through all of those archives, which isn't easy. You said that you worked with Eric for 43 and a half years, but who's counting?
Right.
And a lot of that time was spent sitting next to him right here on this morning show. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. Let me tell you, this was, to say it was an honor and a privilege to get to anchor back in the day with Eric and Sally and Andre. I mean, it was the number one television newscast in the country, and to be able to keep that seat warm. But I'll tell you, we had so much fun behind the scenes. I mean, come on, Frank Davis was cooking in the kitchen. Eric was, people didn't know this, during commercial breaks, Eric was on the phone with someone, buying and selling stock, or trying to make me laugh, which is so easy because Eric reminds me of my five brothers, the antics. And I'm not talking grown-up antics. I'm talking 7th grade, okay? We would act like we were in 7th grade, and Eric would make me laugh. But the minute the red light would come back on after a commercial break, Eric would get it together, be professional. I couldn't stop laughing. And my mother calls me one day, and she goes, "Are you going to get fired for laughing?" And I said, I don't think Eric wouldn't, but Eric, it was all Eric's fault, and I promise he made me do it. And I'd have to go into the news director and say, I couldn't help it. Eric did this to me right before we came back on camera, but that is the point, is he was young at heart. He was mischievous, or as we say in New Orleans, the mischievous one, and he was Peter Pan. He was never going to grow up, and therefore none of us really knew how old he was until Saturday when we read his obituary. Eric was absolutely one of a kind. I want to show some pictures. The other thing, the Easter pictures. Eric was always there for people, okay? For any fundraiser, he would go MC. And as y'all have been saying earlier, he was a father. He had a family. But he was there for our family, which is New Orleans. And believe me, the viewers are our family. And he would be there, and every year he rode in the Easter parade. This was Chris Owens' Easter parade. And when she passed away, we still rode, and Kitsy Adams, who just does a phenomenal job of putting it together. And Eric, you know, we would judge the hat contest, and it's a big affair before the parade. There's a luncheon, there's contests. It's just a fun family day in the quarter. And Eric said to me this year, he said, you know, Meg, I think this might be my last year, although next year is the 40th anniversary. And he said, I want to do this for Kitsy. He said, but I think that's going to be my last year because I need to be with my family on Easter. Excuse me. So I said to Kitsy, I said, you know, Eric was talking about this coming year, this coming Easter, being his last year, your 40th anniversary. He wanted to be there for you, but then he needs to be there for his family. And we are talking about doing an Eric Paulsen memorial float, which the public can join and ride on. And so we are already talking about that, and what an honor it would be for people who loved Eric, you know, to sign up and ride on the float and come to the, you know, to honor him along with Chris Owens, who he adored. There's a picture, and it's kind of dark, kind of blue hazy, of Eric and I sitting together. That was at Chris Owens' last Christmas. Honoring her. He was always there. He was always there for people. So as much as I want to make fun and, you know, tease Eric, he really was there for people. So just know that's in the works. We'll make more announcements about it as time gets closer. But yeah, I just, you know, I want to tell the viewers this is just as much of a shock to all of us as it is to them, because it went fast. But yesterday I went to a Halloween luncheon, and I'm telling you, 50 people came up and hugged me and said, I miss and love Eric. Of course, I shed tears, and I said, thank you, because you loved him just as much as all of us did. Sometimes we wanted to give him a swift kick in the pants, okay? And so did management. Because Eric was kind of the tail wagging the dog sometimes, but you loved him for it. You couldn't help. It was just Eric. So those are my thoughts this morning.
We thank you for sharing them, Meg, and we also know that it's not easy to keep having to, you know, dig into your memory bank for something that is so emotional for someone whom you knew so well. So we do thank you for allowing that sincerity to be shared with our audience today.
Yeah, thank you,
But
Meg.
how
Thanks for the
wonderful,
work.
but real quickly, how wonderful to have good memories. You know, that is good. These are good emotions and good tears, because you do have such good memories and you've learned so much from someone. And I started thinking, you know, sometimes when I just need sofa time, I just want to decompress and be at home. Eric would have been at the fundraiser at wherever, and I feel like I need to do more because of Eric. Live like Eric. You know.
All right.
Very well put. Thanks,
Thank you,
Meg.
My pleasure.
Well, I remember.